Avinash, how does social media change the analytics game? What are the best ways of monitoring Facebook interactions with your brand, or Twitter, for example?
I love what social media is doing to analytics because it is destroying it. I love it. In the sense that I think that the way people behave in social media, the way that they accomplish what they're trying to accomplish is so radically different than any other channel that we use today. Google, Atlas, or YouTube, or DoubleClick, it doesn't matter. Any of those are. The purpose is so different that I'm very excited at the innovation that's happening in the analytics space. And actually, this innovation is not being done by Omniture, Web Trends, Google Analytics, the vendors who are great in that old world. This is being done by small little companies who are agile and nimble, are being able to bring a new mental model. So some ways in which it is changing is that it is not actually important how many followers you have or likes you have. The mistake that a lot of people end up making is when they think about social channels, what they end up measuring is activity. And what I am encouraging people to do is measure outcomes. And so here's a great example. I don't actually care how many times you tweeted. What I care that you should measure is, I've created this new metric. I call it message amplification. And the metric is the number of retweets per 1,000 followers. And what it's saying is a measure of quality is, are you tweeting something of such quality that other people are passing it out far beyond your network, so your brand is spreading, your message is spreading. So that's a new metric, right? Or another metric that I love is conversation rate. Because what is really good about Twitter and Facebook is that you don't have to shout at people the way you shout at in TV. You shout in magazines and radio, right? You don't have to shout at people. You influence people. You do marketing by having conversations. That's the true strength of the social media medium, and yet most brands don't do this. So this morning I showed an example of an AT&T, twitter.com/AT&T, and if you look at it, it's just shouting, and that's why it only has 678 followers. If you shout, nobody's interested in what you're saying. So the metric that I use is conversation rate, the number of replies sent and the number of replies received. And you measure it against a benchmark using a tool. And what it helps you understand is, in a medium whose true strength is conversation, are you actually having a conversation? It holds people accountable. And the third one, I think, that social media is kind of forcing analytics vendors to evolve is this whole idea around understanding the why, right? Not just the what, which is how do I understand the words that people are using and the message that's there? And the shortcut that I think many companies are taking is to say, let's do sentiment analysis. Let me understand positive, negative, neutral. Well, one problem is it's very hard to do. So I just started the Anderson School of Business, UCLA. It's going Southwest. And somebody tweeted back to me and they said, Avinash, Southwest Airlines sucks less now. Like, what is the sentiment there? It's really hard to figure out. So what I have become a fan of is using emotional and cognitive analysis. So there is a tool can analyze words, for example, that uses the LIWC protocol. It's 4,500 words in the English language that denote emotion. And if you put any Twitter profile through it, it creates a psychological profile of the person around 13 dimensions. Mm-hmm. And it's very cool because it helps you get to the nuance of what's going on in the brand. And one of the examples I gave is when I run the world's largest telephone company through it, the strongest psychological vibe they're throwing off is worried. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you don't want to be worried, right? And it says, and the emotions that they track are how analytic you are in terms of critical thinking, how plugged in you are you like a Valley girl's, LOLs everywhere, or it helps you understand this emotion that you're exhibiting in the cognitive things from the things that you're saying. And I think that is very new. I think that is very, very new. But it is the way that we will understand what is the brand impact of our conversation, what is the result of our brand perception through us participating in social media. So the new metrics that people are creating, like message amplification and conversation rate and things like that, are very new and coming from new and innovative companies, and changing the kind of data we analyze and how we use it. And then this whole component of doing emotional cognitive analysis truly is helping brands understand from thousands and thousands of people the kind of attributes that they never would have been able to on any other channel. So I'm very excited about this innovation. There isn't a endpoint we have reached, if you will. We're very early in the genesis for what social media is going to bring in terms of allowing us to understand our customer and participate in conversations.